Superstars. This is Professor Don Bush from the Accounting Superstar YouTube channel. Been a professor for about 30 years and a CPA for about that long, and I've got great ways to explain accounting. You've come to the right place to learn accounting. So this lesson is designed for people who are in their first semester of accounting and studying inventory. And the topic is first in, first out inventory. Now, when I was in college, most everybody in the class did not understand this. I remember that day vividly. And I've got a great way to explain it, and you will get it if you hang in there, all right? Just follow along with this video. It's not very long. So let's get started. So here's what we have. We've got Fred Snowblower Service. And Fred sells snowblowers and repairs snowblowers. Based on a true story, names are changed to protect the innocent. And what I've got here, I've got a chart of Fred's activity for the month of January. Now, if you watch the inventory weighted average method, the numbers are the exact same thing, although the technique here is a little different. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the beginning inventory and the purchases, and we're going to put them down into a simpler chart. So this chart here reflects Fred's activity for the month of January, and our job is to figure out the ending inventory and cost of goods sold for Fred. Now, this is very important to figure out the ending inventory and cost of goods sold, because this is going to go onto the income statement and help determine the profit. So we want to make sure we get it right. So here's what we do. We're going to come down here, and we're going to figure out, first of all, the total number of snowblowers that are sold. So here's what we do. We just go look at our chart, and we say, well, on January 4th, he sold 2. And on January 7th, he sold 3 more. And on January 10th, he sold 2 more. And so we just add all the snowblowers that were sold. And they're the snowblowers that are in the highlighted in the pink salmon color. So if you add those all up, you get a grand total of 26 snowblowers were sold. Now we need to determine the grand total retail price of all the snowblowers that were sold. So it's the same idea. So we go up here to the original chart, and we say, well, on January 4th, he sold $2,400 worth of snowblowers. On January 7th, $3,000 worth of snowblowers, and $2,400 and $3,300. And we add up all the numbers that are in the pink color. We're adding up the sales. And if you do that, you get a grand total of $31,300. So what I'm going to do is split the screen here so we can see what's going on in 2 places at once. All right, so I've got the original chart up on the upper half of the screen. So I have the original chart on the upper screen, and I've got a simplified chart down below. So what I'm going to include on the simplified chart down below are just the purchases and the beginning inventory. So the beginning inventory, there were 10 units, so I'm going to drop those 10 units down here. And the cost per unit was $750. I get that number right from that spot. And if you go 10 times 750, you get 7,500. So all I'm doing is copying the numbers here and dropping them down here. Now let's copy in the purchase here. So Fred purchased 8 snowblowers. And you might be saying, why are you doing all this copying? Well, if we can simplify the information, it's just a lot easier to follow. Let's grab this purchase here, 4 snowblowers. I'm looking at January 5th. And those snowblowers each were $780, which brings us to a grand total of $3,120. And if you're wondering, where am I getting those numbers? I'm getting them right from this spot right there. All right, so what we would do is we would do that for all of the purchases. We would simply copy the numbers down. There we go. And I'll just highlight them just so we have them. There we are. Okay, so we've got all the numbers copied down. Now we really don't need that upper screen anymore, so I'm going to undo the split. All right, so with my simplified chart, it's pretty easy from this point. So all we're going to do is add up the first column and the last column. We don't need to add up the middle column. So the total available for sale, total available at cost. So what we're going to do is we're going to add up the total number of units. So we're just going to add up the 10, the 8, the 4, the 6, and so on and so forth, and we get a grand total of 40. And we're going to do the same thing over here with the total cost. We're just simply going to total the column. So there we go. Now, cost of goods sold. So how many units were sold? How many snowblowers were sold? 26. And you might say, where'd you get 26? Well, we have it right here. The total number of snowblowers sold, 26. We did that just a moment ago. So cost of goods sold, 26. All right. Now, we can figure out this ending inventory real quick. If we had 40 available for sale and we sold 26 of them, well, how many did we have left over? Well, we had 14 left over. 14 are still sitting on the shelf. But the big question is, how much are we going to put here for a dollar amount for cost of goods sold and ending inventory? Now, this is first in, first out. First in, first out. And so the 10 snowblowers in the beginning inventory, those were the first ones in. And the 8, they were the next ones in. And the 4, they were the next ones in after that. And of course, the 5 down here at the bottom, those were the last snowblowers in. So this is called first in, first out, which means the first snowblowers in are the first ones to be sold. Now, that may or may not be true in reality, but it's just the way we're doing our accounting. And so the way we're doing our accounting and what really might be happening might be two different things. These 10 here were sold, okay? We sold a grand total of 26. So these were sold, and these 8 were sold. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note here. Sold, see if I can. Sold, these 8 were sold. That brings us to 18. These 4 were sold. That brings us to 22. Now 26 were sold. So what happened is that out of these 6, 4 were sold, 2 are left. Okay, so 4 are sold. Out of these 6 here, 4 are sold, 2 are left. So let me run through that again. First in, first out. These are the first ones in, so they're the first ones to be sold. We sold a grand total of 26. So 10 are sold, another 8 are sold, that brings us to 18, another 4 are sold, that brings us to 22, and out of this 6, 4 are sold, and there's 2 left. All right, so to figure out the cost of goods sold, we would just multiply across. That's all we would do. Is 10 times 750 is 7,500. 8 times 760 is 680. That brings us down to here. And 4 times 780 is 3,120. So there we go. Now here at this 6, 4 were sold, 2 are left. So 4 were sold. So out of these 6, 4 are sold at 800 each. So 4 times 800, there we go. So 4 times 800 is 3,200. So to figure out the cost of goods sold, all we have to do is total this up right here. We just need to total those numbers. And if we total up those numbers, we get 19,900. So 19,900 is the cost of goods sold. So just to run this by you one more time, okay, one more time. First in, first out. The beginning inventory, those were the first ones in. This 8 was the next bunch of snowblowers in. This 4 was the next bunch of snowblowers in. So first in, first out. These were the first ones to be sold. These 8 were sold, bringing us to 18. These 4 were sold, bringing us to 22. Now out of this 6, 4 were sold, which brings us to the 26. So 4 are sold, 2 are left. 4 times 800 is 3,200. And all we do is add up these numbers. We get 19,900. So 19,900 is our cost of goods sold. Now to figure out our ending inventory, that's real easy. All we got to do is subtract here, right? 31,460 minus 19,900, and we have what is left, 11,560. There we go. So ladies and gentlemen, here is our cost of goods sold based on first in, first out. So let me make a note here. First in, first out. Down below here, I've got a summary, folks. Sales. We figured out what our sales were. Our sales were right up here, 31,300. That's at retail price to our customers. or I should say to Fred's customers, 31,300. Cost of goods sold, we figured it out, 19,900. And this is based on first in, first out. Gross profit, all we do is subtract 31,300 minus 19,900, and we get 11,400. Ending inventory based on first in, first out is 11,560. There we go, 11,560. So folks, hope you enjoyed this lesson. Hope it helped you out. And if it did, please hit that subscribe button and the like button. That way YouTube will know that these YouTube videos are valuable. They'll show you more of them. Also, don't forget about accountingsuperstars.com, the website. Got all the videos listed out for you. So until next time, over and out.